Today, let's talk about function and array in C++ program. Now, what is a function? So a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. So instead of writing the same code again and again, we can reuse a function whenever needed. Just like, for example, this one, a function that adds to a number. So we have int add and then open parenthesis int a, comma int b, close parenthesis, and then we move forward to return a plus b. Now we proceed to int main. Now the int result, we're going to add 5. Going to add the 2. The example will be 5 and 3, and the sum will be, and if you're going to run it, and the sum will be 8. So that's the example of a function. Now let's proceed to array. So what is array? Array is a container that holds multiple values of the same type. Now we have an example here. You can see here that there's an int numbers, open bracket 5, close bracket. So what does it mean? It means that those are array of 5 integers. Now let's proceed to for. So what is this for means? So it is a loop that we use to repeat a block of code a certain numbers of times. Now inside the loop, there's being coded that int I equals 1. So it means that we start with 1, and then semicolon, the following term will be I less than equal to 5, means that it keeps running while I is 5 or less. And then the last one is I plus plus, means that we have to add 1 to I after each loop. Now, this will be the result if you're going to run it. Now we're done introducing the function and the array. Now, let's proceed to coding. So, function to find maximum value. So in this coding, we will find the maximum value in an array. So we have two parameters in the find maximum value. We have the int r, which is the array of numbers, and followed by the int size. So how many numbers are there in an array? And then in int max equals our array 0, we assume that the first number in an array is the biggest. So no, for now. So, and then we will proceed to loop. So to go through the array starting at index 1, since we already checked index 0. So if the I is less than the size, then the loop will keep running until we reach the last element. And then let's proceed to if. So an array max array I. So if the current number array is greater than max, we update max to the number and then return. So once the loop is finished, we return the biggest number found. So then let's proceed to main function. So this is the starting point of the program. So again, in the int main, this is where the program starts running, and then we proceed in int numbers where we have where we create an array of 5 integers called numbers, and then the elements of it are 12, 45, 7, 89, and 34. So the int value and the int max value equals find max numbers 5. So we call the find max function. So it giving it the array and its size 5. So the result is stored in a variable called max value, and then we will proceed to see out. It will print the result to the screen, and now of course the return 0. So this will tell the computer the program finished successfully. So the numbers that we've input in an array is 12, 45, 7, 89, 34. So the program will then find its biggest number, maximum value, which is 89. So let's see the program as I run it. So now let's proceed to number 2, where we were going to reverse an array from original to reversal. Now we're going to start with an array of 5 numbers. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So then we're going to proceed to 4, as I've explained earlier. Then this loop goes through the array and prints each number. So this is how the reverse starts. This calls a function that swaps the elements. This is the reverse array, or R then size, from the ends of the array moving toward to the center. For example, 5 and 25, they switches places, and then 10 and 20 switch places too. Then 15 stays in the middle. So now the array becomes 25, 20, 15, 10, and 5. So the print reverse array. So the program then prints the new order of an array. So again, we will then explain how the reverse array function works. The start will start at the first element, which is 0, and then the end starts at the last element, size 1. So while start is less than end, they swaps the value at start and end. So then it moves start forward and end backward. So this keep going until the whole array is reversed. So the final output, the original array is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And the reverse array is 25, 20, 15, 10, and 5. Now let's see when I run the code. Now let's proceed to number 3, where we were going to calculate the average. Now, an array of numbers, those are 2 functions, an array of numbers and the numbers of elements in an array, which is the size, array size. So inside the function, it adds up all the numbers using a loop. Then we will divide the total by the number of an elements to find the average. And then finally, it returns that average value. So now let's proceed. What is inside the main part of the program? So we have float numbers 5, which is how many arrays are there. So inside the array, so we have 10.5, 20.0, 30.5, 40.0, and 50.0. So this creates an array of 5 numbers. So and then followed by the int size, which is 5. This tells us how many elements are there in an array. So that's the size. Now move on to float average equals calculate average, numbers and size. So means this calls the function we made earlier and stores the result, which means the result of the average in the variable. So and then followed by the cout, the average of an array element. So it will then print the result on the screen. So what will be the print? So ano yung outcome niya? So it will add up all the numbers, as I've discussed earlier in the function. It will add up all, so like 10 plus 5 plus 20.5, and so on and so forth, that we've provided there to calculate by the program. And then the outcome is 151.0. Then we divided by 5, then the total is 30.2. So 30.2 is our average, is the calculated average inside the arrays. And that's all. So hopefully in this video you learned something, even though very short lang yung pagka-explain. Hopefully then you will learn from it. And once again, thank you for watching.